Good afternoon, KELOLAND. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We now have a dry radar after having some overnight and early morning showers in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND. Temperatures this noon are in the 60s and 70s. 70 degrees in Mitchell, 67 Sioux Falls, 68 degrees in Yankton, 70 in Rapid City. We'll go with highs in the 60s and 70s today with mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Chance at storms tomorrow in western South Dakota. We'll talk more about that coming up in your forecast as we begin midday in KELOLAND.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, midday in KELOLAND.
A Centerville man who previously served as the mayor faces 3 counts of murder.
Former President Donald Trump returned to a Manhattan courtroom in the closing arguments for the so-called hush money trial. I'm Astrid Martinez with a look at the case and when we can expect a verdict.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Hansen. A former mayor of Centerville is charged with murdering 3 people. This midday, 64-year-old Jay Ostrom is being held in the Minnehaha County Jail on a $1 million cash-only bond. KELOLAND News has obtained the affidavit in the case, which details the incident leading up to the deadly shootings on Main Street. The document says last night a family member told Ostrom that she'd been sexually assaulted by a neighbor, and Ostrom, quote, got up and went raging out of the house. When police later found him, authorities say Ostrom had a gun in his pocket, along with a rifle casing and shotgun casings. And he also had an AR-style rifle nearby. According to federal court documents, Ostrom is also a city council member in Centerville and has a history of working in law enforcement. We have a news crew on the scene, and we'll have the latest on the investigation tonight on KELOLAND News. You can also find detailed report on KELOLAND.com. A teen is being charged for last month's high-speed crash in central Sioux Falls that killed 2 teenagers and injured several others. On Friday, we learned that police arrested 17-year-old Damian Lorelez in connection with the crash. He is expected to be charged in adult court. Court documents say Lorelez was under the influence of marijuana and alcohol when he crashed an SUV into a tree and a house. Police believe Lorelez was going more than 70 miles an hour leading up to the crash. Court papers say he and 7 others left a house party to get food and were on their way back to the party when they lost control of the SUV. Lorelez is charged with manslaughter, vehicular homicide, and vehicular battery. Officials have identified the woman who was killed in a crash near Fort Pierre. South Dakota Department of Public Safety says that a Ford Taurus was traveling on War Creek Road when, for an unknown reason, the car left the road, went into the ditch, and rolled multiple times. The driver, 63-year-old Barb Stozer of Midland, died from injuries sustained in that crash. The South Dakota Highway Patrol is investigating. Turning now to a first look at your midday forecast with meteorologist Scott Muntz. Scott, what's going on out there?
Well, we got rid of the rain. Now we have sunshine, parts of eastern KELOLAND, maybe with some thicker cloud cover, but still a partly cloudy afternoon, comfortable afternoon with temperatures probably in the 60s and 70s for highs. And we have that north wind, not as strong as what we had yesterday. I think it will average around 10 to 20 miles per hour and an occasional higher gust from time to time. Now you do see how those clouds moved across eastern KELOLAND during the early morning hours, had some rain with it around, approached the 1/3 of an inch for rainfall amount in Watertown, about a 1/10 of an inch in Brookings, just 1/100th of an inch reported in Sioux Falls. And that's the way the sky looks right now in Sioux Falls. With a temperature of 68 degrees, we do have a north wind at 13 miles per hour, but notice that gust coming in at 24. We will continue to watch our temperatures warm to the lower 70s, which actually be a couple of degrees below average. Watertown, mentioned those rain showers we had earlier. Now we have the dry pavement. Temperature at 62 degrees with a partly cloudy sky. North wind in Watertown 14, gusting to 22 miles per hour. 68 degrees in Yankton, 69 degrees in Huron. But we also have some 70-degree weather out there. Looks like we have 70 in Pierre, 71 Valentine, 70 in Rapid City. As we do take a look at our forecast for today, you can expect temperatures in the 60s and 70s. High of 71 Sioux Falls. We may stay in the 60s in northeastern South Dakota. 73 our forecast high in Pierre and 74 in Rapid City. Temperatures tonight will fall to the 40s. In fact, there may be a chill in the air with temperatures falling to the lower 40s in northeastern South Dakota. This will happen with mostly clear skies and light winds, a little warmer across western South Dakota. And for tomorrow. Temperatures will be warmer. Numbers in the low to middle 70s in eastern South Dakota. Near 80 in Pierre, and 82 is our forecast high in Rapid City for tomorrow. The shower and thunderstorms that you do see on the forecast map, that's late in the day, probably after 4 o'clock in western South Dakota, but they can last into the evening hours, and that rain will move into eastern KELOLAND by Thursday. I'll have more details on your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Falls Area Single Track has created 15 miles of trails across 9 parks in Sioux Falls and will soon add a 10th. The local nonprofit is partnering with Great Bear Ski Valley to bring more than 10 miles of new trails to the rec park. The project will feature all new construction working around the existing trail system.
We've got a lot of user groups to keep happy. A lot of people walk dogs out here. A lot of people have already been out here trail running. Now we're going to have bikes. Our plan has thought that through to, provide something for everybody and not, disturb the pecking order.
Falls Area Single Track started a fundraising campaign earlier this month and is hoping to raise a total of $1 million. Phase 1 of the project needs at least $250,000 to get off the ground and will feature about 5 miles of trail. Well, for years, employers across the U.S. have offered mental health help through an Employee Assistance Program, or EAP. But a local entrepreneur started Well 365 to change that traditional model of mental health care access.
When we're able to allow employers with a lot of flexibility where we can come on site, we can meet people with where they're at, whether it's wanting to do more of a telehealth visit or wanting to come to our office, or again, us being on site.
The difference that access is making at one Sioux Falls company coming up in tonight's Eye on KELOLAND at 10. Palestinian first responders say recent Israeli strikes on Rafah have killed at least 16 people. Health officials say that strike ignited a fire in a camp for displaced Palestinians and killed at least 45 people. Over the past 3 weeks, Israel's offensive in Rafah has sent nearly 1 million Palestinians fleeing the southern Gaza city. Most have been displaced multiple times during Israel's nearly 8-month response to find Hamas terrorists. Well, after weeks of testimony, closing arguments are today in former President Donald Trump's so-called hush money trial in New York. Astrid Martinez has the latest from outside the courthouse.
Mr. Trump, how are you feeling about today?
Former President Donald Trump arrived at the Manhattan courthouse ahead of closing arguments in his historic criminal trial.
We'll see how it goes. This is a very dangerous day for America. It's a very sad day.
Inside, his defense team told jurors Trump was innocent and did not break the law.
Under the federal law, I did nothing wrong.
Trump is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Prosecutors argue it was part of a scheme to subvert election law by concealing repayment to his former fixer Michael Cohen for hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Jury deliberations could begin as soon as tomorrow.
Juries convict on circumstantial evidence all the time. In fact, there often is not the type of evidence, smoking gun evidence, that one would want.
As he has done throughout this trial, Trump again claimed this morning that this case is the result of campaign interference by President Biden, his political rival. Outside the courthouse, the Biden campaign pushed back.
We're here primarily because of the threat that Donald Trump poses to the United States of America and to our democracy.
In a sign of how significant today's proceedings are, 3 of Donald Trump's children, Donald Jr., Eric, and Tiffany, joined him in court for closing arguments. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
If Trump is found guilty, he would be the first former president convicted of a crime. Each charge carries a punishment of up to 4 years in prison.